Awesome episode here on a very, very important topic. It's improving your financial health with real estate. Real estate, everyone, you either love it or you don't. We got people telling you it's the fastest way to become a millionaire, but just how are we going to do that? Well, we've got three awesome guests here today that all have a fun little tip on how to do real estate. And then you've got me, who's going to give you a really good tip too. Here's the best tip about real estate investing. If you're looking to buy for your family, I totally support having the real estate agent that can do all the work for you. But if you're looking to invest, anytime you invest, you should know so much about your investment that you can do it yourself. So my tip is fire a real estate agent. Learn how to do it, learn how to invest properly, and run the numbers yourself before you buy one of the most important purchases of your life. The real estate, you're losing tons of cash, tons of capital, and there's millions of ways to buy without a real estate. I have not used a real estate on my last 5 deals, I believe, of properties I bought. So if you want to improve your financial health through real estate investing, fire that real estate agent and learn to do it yourself. So we're going to go ahead and start off here with our first guest, who's a repeat guest. You've seen him before. I'm not sure what episode, but it was in the past, and he's back again. We're going to come bring out Quentin here. Quentin, how's your morning going?
Good, man. Good, man. Glad to be here.
Where are you located right now?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina. All right. All right, Quentin, tell us, who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Quentin West. I'm 25 years old, and over the past 4 years, I've been using this really unique Airbnb strategy where I can jump in with little to no money and create a incredible cash flow machine. So at this point, we currently have 40 properties. We're generating a little over $100,000 a month in gross revenue at about 40% profit. So that's what I've been doing.
Wow. Well, that sounds pretty impressive, and it sounds like you're using real estate. So let me ask you this. If I wanted to improve my financial health with real estate, what advice would you give me?
Yeah, so I'd say do exactly what I've been doing, just building up cash flow first. When I first started, I wanted to go into the BRRRR strategy and buy places, and I realized that with the very little money that I had, literally just like $6,000 on a credit card, that was going to be pretty impossible unless I got super creative. So I needed to build up my cash flow first so that I could buy more real estate long term. And so I think I see a lot of people jumping in that they want to, buy their first property with 20% down and then wait another year or two and buy another place. And 10 years has gone by and they don't have a ton of cash flow yet. They really have no wealth built up yet. So by building that cash flow machine with the tool that I found called Airbnb arbitrage, you're able to invest in many more properties, replace your 9-to-5 income quicker, and build that long-term wealth much faster.
So cash flow is number one. What's the next step once your cash flow is complete?
Yeah, so get to $30,000 or $40,000 a month in actual profit that you can then invest into either multifamily assets or something like what we're doing now, boutique hotels. So we're looking at boutique hotels. We're just taking the next step up in this hospitality model that I've learned really well. And we're investing in actual hotels that we can purchase, have that equity built in, and then the long-term wealth building and tax strategy that goes with buying the actual asset.
Have you bought a hotel yet?
Not yet, but we're close. We're looking every single month. That's the next step for us, getting into a couple boutique hotels. We have some investors that are putting up some funds, and we're looking for $2 to $3 million project, under 30 units right now, anywhere on the East Coast.
Cool. Well, that sounds freaking fun. So you're done with houses, you're moving to hotels. Well, let me ask you this. What happened on your life journey that taught you this strategy?
Yeah, so I never intended Airbnb to be like a money-making scheme. I I was in between jobs. I just quit construction. I had like 2 or 3 months of reserves saved up because I owned a home and I was living by myself at the time. And I got my real estate license, and things just didn't kick off exactly like I planned. About 2 months in, I was no longer able to make my mortgage payment. And so I had to move back in with my parents. Um, and feared that I would get kicked out. And then one day I was talking to a friend and he was like, yeah, I just inherited this house. I put it on Airbnb and now I'm cash flowing like $1,500 a month. And it was right down the street from mine. So I thought, well, this might be an opportunity for me to at least break even and then I can figure everything else out. And so that's exactly what I did. I had my furniture still in the house, threw it up on Airbnb. And sure enough, the first month I profited $1,000. The second month I profited 1,500. And then over time, I was like, well, seems like a consistent income. I mean, I'm only making $3,000 a month right now total. And this place is making 1,500 by itself. So if I get 2 or 3 of these, I can retire at 21 years old. And so I started researching no money down purchases, subject to financing, like all those crazy terms we hear about when we're just getting started. And none of that really seemed possible to me. I mean, it just seemed too complicated. I'm not a super smart guy. And so one day I heard somebody talking about arbitrage, and that just kind of clicked with me, knowing that I could rent a property very similar to the one I already had. I don't have a mortgage. I don't need good credit. I don't need 20% down. And now I can start subleasing it on Airbnb. And so within a week, I had my first arbitrage unit. And then it was time to figure out how to furnish it. And so what I ended up doing was sending an invoice to myself from my company and paying that with a credit card. That way it would go to my business bank account. I could take out the cash and then pay that for my first month's rent and deposit. And then I figured out the furniture later on. But that was about 4 years ago, and now we have 40.
Nice, man. All right. So if you want to get into real estate, an easy way to do it is Airbnb arbitrage through Quentin. And I do know that, Quentin, you have some sort of course or something that you may want to pitch right now.
Yeah. So everything that we do is custom at this point because we have people coming in with no properties. And then we also have 20, 30 unit portfolios that come to us and they want to make some extra money and optimize their listings, or they're seeing a downtrend in the market and they need some expertise in that area. That's what we help with, everything in between. So if you're somebody like that, you want to get started or scale what you already have, shoot me a message at Q Deals Homes on Instagram and I'll point you in the right direction.
That's awesome, Quentin. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. We're going to move on to our next guest, but that was very, very good, enlightening knowledge. I love it. Thank you so much.
Hey, doing great. How are you? Quentin's been awesome. I enjoyed his Airbnb stuff.
I have a question for you, Amber. Who are you?
I'm a chief financial officer, day trader, and entrepreneur. For the last 12 years, I've been working with startups and turnaround companies. I'm the owner of Stratford Consulting, Fitter, Smarter, Richer, Whoopsie Hair Ties, and also coming soon, Stratford Capital Partners, an investment advisory services firm.
So I'm sure that we're here to talk about Whoopsie Hair Ties, right?
Hey, if you don't have one, get them soon.
All right, Amber, I've got a very important question for you. If I wanted to improve my financial health with real estate, what advice would you give me?
Whether you're a passive or active investor, you need to understand the financial statements. That's the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statement. Those are the three bases of what you need to understand. You need to understand the payables, you need to understand the receivables, you need to understand your net operating income, and you need to understand your free cash flow as an investor.
So let me ask you this. What happened in your life journey that taught you that is a requirement?
So over the 12 years of helping startups and turnarounds, I've been on several real estate turnarounds. And the one thing that's really missed is understanding that free cash flow piece and understanding the balance sheet. So looking at your payables, do you have enough money to cover your payables? What are your payable balances in the buckets? Meaning what's 30, 60, 90 days overdue? And same with the AR, because when you're looking at either buying into a real estate investment or buying a real estate investment yourself, you need to understand from the due diligence piece of what the aging AR is, and then what is the business bringing in from a net operating income standpoint. And that net operating income is going to be before your paper losses, depreciation, amortization. You need to know what that is, because ultimately the NOI is going to determine what the valuation is for that property. And then the free cash flow piece is extremely important, because free cash flow means that after the obligations of the business are paid for, plus the reinvestment, so your CapEx into building expenses, that whatever's left over is what's going to be your pref, so your return on investment. And a lot of people miss that point of the free cash flow, because building CapEx, especially when you're getting into multifamily, it can eat up very quickly, and then there's a cap call. So understanding that free cash flow piece, I would say, is the most important.
Let me ask you this then. Is this something you teach? The importance of a financial statement, or what parts you need to look for, things you need to check, or how to create them?
Good question. So I do own my own consulting company where I go in and I help entrepreneurs, business owners create and understand their financial statements. I help build models, very easy things for them to understand. They don't have to be a financial expert. They don't have to be an Excel expert. So mostly I take what they need, boil it down, develop KPIs. I can also build a team around that. So that's all through my consulting company, Stratford Consulting.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. We've got about a minute left. Anything else you want to add on your tip about financial statements?
Well, if you don't have financial statements, get them. So find someone that knows how to do it. And it's not that inexpensive. I've actually helped teams, one, build out all their financials, and then hire a team of virtual assistants, which are a lower cost, in order to run those. So you're not getting like this heavy expense. Like, it's achievable and affordable.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amber.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's move forward to Steve. Steve, how are you today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. I live in St. Thomas, so every day is great.
Nice.
Steve, who are you?
Yeah, hey, good morning, everybody. My name's Steve Delios. A little bit about me. I'm a self-made millionaire by my mid-30s, all through real estate investing. The cool part is I only started with about $10,000. Now I'm an international real estate investor in multiple different countries. I'm also the author of a book called What Schools Don't Teach You, Rise, Rich, and Retire. You can find it on Amazon. And it's a practical playbook that's just full of a bunch of tips and tricks for other people to become rich as well. I'm also the principal of a mentorship firm called careermentor.ca, where I teach one-on-one mentoring and I help others so they too can become millionaires.
That is really cool. Awesome. So everyone go check out his book. Steve, I've got a really good question for you. If I wanted to improve my financial health, what would you recommend for me?
Yeah, hey, great question. I echo everything else that the first two speakers have said, but to me, I really boil it down to picking the right property. You know, there's a term that I use called the triangle of real estate. And if you follow the triangle, you're more times than not going to be having a golden pile on your hands. And the triangle consists of three things when you're looking at a property. Number one, is it close to major highways? Number two, can you access public transportation? And number three, is there a radius of good paying jobs within a 30-minute circular radius of the property? Typically, when a property meets those criteria, what you get is you lead to stronger quality of tenants, higher paying tenants, and it really comes down to what happens at the end. More times than not, you will generally see that that property will cash flow at a higher level, and then over time will appreciate at a faster rate.
Wow, okay. That's very cool. A little triangle. All right. I like that.
Yeah,
well, Steve, how did you learn
triangle.
that? What happened in your life journey that you learned? Yeah, what happened that you learned it?
Yeah, you know what? To me, like anything else I do in life, it all comes down to mentorships, asking smart people what they do and doing what other people are already doing. When I did my first deal, I was a university student. I was in my third, fourth year. I was a waiter in a restaurant, and I was working with all these older guys that were all making this money through real estate. So I was learning from them on what they did to do their first deals. And then I took what they did, I reapplied it, I used the triangle, I put $10,000 down on my first property, and then I started to see the wealth come through. A couple years later, I sold that first property for $50,000 more than when I bought it. My salary that year working full-time was less than $50,000. And I said to myself, I think I'm onto something here. I just made more in one day than I did all year. And then that just kept on going. And then for all the other tips and tricks that everybody else has shared today, one thing led to another, and I just kept on inquiring. And same thing happened when I did my first international deal. I didn't know too much about another country's real estate market. I just hired all the smart people around me, surrounded myself with the right brokers, agents, and information. And then I went ahead and acquired the properties there. Anything else you want to know?
Wow, that's pretty cool, Steve. What countries do you have properties in right now?
United States and Canada. So mainly in the Florida marketplace and in Ontario in Canada.
What other countries do you have properties in?
Mainly in the United States and Canada.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, Steve, thank you so much. I think this is the time where we're going to bring everybody out and go over each other's tips. How are you guys doing? So let's start with Quentin's tip. Can you quickly refresh us on what your tip was, Quentin?
Yeah, just building cash flow first, prioritizing that as opposed to equity or anything else in real estate.
Amber, what are your thoughts?
So I love that. I really think that building cash flow is incredibly important right now because I'm thinking, based upon the numbers that I analyze, is that we're going to see another housing boom here. And it's going to be within the 2 to 3 years it's going to last. Right now, housing supply is, half of what it was during the 2020 boom. So housing supply is down. Also, building permits are down. Interest rates are coming down. The FOMC put out the dot plot a couple weeks ago that we're expecting another 100 basis point rate cut over the next year, meaning interest rates are going to come down. So those cap rates are going to look nice. By people not building and interest rates coming down, the supply hasn't changed. So home prices are going to continue to go up. And that's great for multifamily because more people are not going to be able to afford these single family homes. They're going to be going into multifamily. And then also from a family office standpoint, if you're looking for individuals to invest, family offices now are very hesitant in investing in the stock market because of the volatility. And that's because the first time in really U.S. history, retail traders and institutional traders are matched, meaning that they're almost a 1-to-1 ratio because of commission rates have been cut. It's very easy and accessible to access the market. So you have a lot more people, meaning shorting the market, expecting the market to go down, which ultimately there's these short covers, kind of like the GameStop squeeze that we saw. But ultimately, family offices are looking to invest in real estate long-term because they feel it's a safer investment. So this is very contrarian to Grant Cardone saying that there's going to be a housing crash, the biggest of his lifetime. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm very contrarian on that fact because most analysts that say, hey, the stock price is going to increase over the long term, it's a buy rating, they're usually in the background dumping the stock, selling it off. So Grant Cardone over this summer, I had his COO spoke in May saying that they haven't bought anything in 2023 yet. They're holding their cash. So they're holding their cash for ultimately a timing of the market where they are going to get in at. So they may be pumping the market. I'm not putting words in Grant Cardone's mouth, but it ultimately, I foresee the real estate market continuing to go up over the next 2 to 3 years. So have that cash flow ready, because it's going to be a buying opportunity.
Dang. All right. Well, that's some good insight. All right. You heard that, Quentin. Keep that cash flow. We're going to be buying here soon. Steve, what are your thoughts on Quentin's tip?
Yeah, I think I echo everything that Quentin says. And to me, it all starts with how the heck do you find the right property, right? And I will always stick it back to the triangle. The biggest mistake people make is they look for big urban centers, big cities, and really those aren't the variables. Stick to the triangle, find properties that are close to major arteries, close to public transportation, close to good paying jobs. And what you're going to see is not only to get stronger quality tenants, you'll be able to drive higher, rent rates, better quality tenants, which then drive better cash flow. The better cash flow you get, the more the property will appreciate at a faster rate over time as well. So it's the gift keeps on giving when you use the triangle.
I love it. Thank you. Hey, Amber, can you quickly refresh us on what your tip was?
Absolutely. From a passive or active investor, you need to understand your financial statements. The balance sheet, the P&L, the free cash flow, those are all crucial to understanding whether or not your investment is going to be safe from a passive side or active side. Do you have enough building CapEx to sustain and also pay your investors back?
Quentin, what are your thoughts on that tip?
Yeah, I think that's super important. You wouldn't believe how many people come to us that already have properties already, and we ask them if they're profitable, and they swear up and down that they are, and then we look at their P&L, and it's like a third of what they actually thought it was. Just because they didn't have their books together, they weren't inputting expenses properly or even income. They're taking distributions in the wrong way. So I think that's definitely extremely important part, especially if you ever think about raising private money. It's going to be a super crucial portion of the business.
I love it. That's good insight. Steve, do you believe in financial statements?
100% I do. Everything's about the numbers to me. To me, and I talk about this in the book, money makes money. And the key to real estate investment is make more money using other people's money. So the benefit of why I focus also on cash flow is, number one, not only does it help pay down your debts and your mortgages using somebody else's money, but number two, it allows the property to be freestanding. So regardless of the economic climate, the property will always be able to stand on its own 2 feet. And then most importantly, number three, and back to the money makes money, over time, what you end up seeing is you're going to end up using other people's money to acquire more real estate, which then allows you to make even more money. So cash flow to me is always number one.
I love it. All right, guys, I'm going to refresh you on my tip. If you want to invest in real estate, fire your agent. Quentin, what are your thoughts?
I think if you're, depending on where you're at in life, it's going to change. But if you're starting at the bare minimum, I think you need to get your license. And the reason why is you can buy a 4-unit complex with 3.5% down. Now, as an agent, you get a 3% commission. So you can buy a $400,000, $500,000 complex that cash flows, especially as an Airbnb, for 0.5% down if you have your license. Now, if that's all you do as an agent, that's going to be an incredible jump start. And you could even ask for seller concessions and get a free property just by getting your real estate license. So that was something that I did early on. I bought my first property, FHA, 3.5% down, and use the money that I would have put down for furniture. And so I didn't know that I wanted to be a real estate investor at the time, but it really helped after I couldn't make my bills and payments. But that's what I would do.
I love it. That's great. Fire agent, become one yourself. Steve, what are your thoughts on that? Do you still use agents?
Not really, for the same reason that Quentin said. To me, there's enough technology out there and enough access to information that if you learn the basics and the fundamentals, you could get to your own conclusions, right? So a lot of times I'll look, for example, when I'm looking for my next property, I'll use the triangle, and then to Quentin's point, And to Amber's point, I'll just run the financials myself. You could use online tools now to see what's the rents in that area, what kind of cash flow will I project to generate, and so on and so forth. The challenge with sometimes with agents is, like any other business, professional service, they're self-serving in terms of what they're looking for. And to me, more importantly, when you first start,
you gotta close that sale.
They got to just close the sale. To me, it's more about what's your goal, and only you know what your goals are. So when you set your own goals of what you want to achieve, then you should be able to be strong enough to make the right decisions to go and attain your goals.
When you're making such a large purchase, 500, 400, 500 million, however big you're looking, you've got someone in your ear, your real estate agent, telling you they may have your interest at hand, but they've also got that paycheck that they only get if that deal closes. So they're not just 100% in your back. They're on their own as well. So it's very difficult to make a giant purchase, especially if they aren't investors. They don't know how to run numbers, how to do the triangle, like Steve said, make sure cash flows. So you have to learn all that yourself. You cannot be a real estate investor without learning how real estate works and how real estate actually, the ROA, and produces money. So that's one of the big things, like Steve said. You got to run the numbers yourself. So there's almost no point in having an agent because they're looking just to close that sale, which doesn't necessarily benefit you. Amber, what are your thoughts?
I love all of the opinions here. I think I'm in the same boat as that. Fire your real estate agent, because one, it's going to eat up on the commissions, and no one's going to have your back like you do. So I'm in consensus with the group.
Hey, Steve, do you want to give us oh, wait, we already did Steve. Great. We're done. So we are at the best part of my entire episode. I love this part. We need to come up with a challenge, everybody. It's going to have to take less than 5 minutes, cost $0, and anybody in the world can do it. What suggestions do you guys have?
I'll go first. So here's the easiest tip and trick that I tell my clients. When you do your first deal, you're going to need some level of a deposit, right? So the easiest tip and trick, I will challenge anyone, find one thing you could do to generate more income today, whatever it may be, and find one thing you could do to decrease your expenses to any level today. Take that delta, start saving it, and use that as a deposit to buy your first property.
That is some great, simple advice. Quentin, you have any ideas?
Yeah, so I'm thinking more on like the lead generation perspective, because no matter what you're doing in real estate, you're going to have leads, whether it's wholesalers, whether it's actual deals, or private money. So I would pick one of those categories and start talking to people in those areas, getting their email information, and then just loading it into a spreadsheet. Because I can't tell you like how valuable that's been for me, because early on, like as a real estate agent, I had an email list, and then I converted that to an investor list. I started dripping out information about deals I was doing, just talking about what I was doing. One, it helped get my name out there more. People started knowing that I was buying properties, and so they were referring deals to me, and it also helped me pick up investors that wanted to invest in my deals.
Very cool. Okay. Amber, any thoughts on a daily challenge?
Yeah. So if you have a goal to buy real estate, write it down. And then every day, write in a journal, take a piece of paper, and define what you did that day in order to get you closer to your goal.
All right. We've heard all of these adventures. Anything you guys else can think of, or do we want to pick one of these? Remember, it's got to be something anyone in the world can do in less than 5 minutes a day. Which of these do you guys think we should challenge ourselves to do? And we will be holding you guys accountable as well. You're part of it.
I like Steve's, honestly. I think that's actionable for anybody. I mean, anybody can just stop buying Starbucks or something and throw away that extra $5 into a savings account and then put that towards, I mean, it doesn't even have to be real estate. It can be some form of personal development. If it's just something as simple as a coffee, and they do, 1 or 2 a week, over time they can buy a lot of books or courses or something to further their education and self-development.
Well, that sounds pretty simple. Amber, how do you think about maybe doing something like every day we decide on something to save money towards a down payment or towards an investment. I mean, I guess we're trying to stick this to real estate. So let's say towards a down payment. Every day we find some little something that we can do to save more money in order to get a down payment.
Absolutely, 100%. The one thing is just keep yourself accountable. How are you going to keep yourself accountable to make sure you do it?
Hopefully you're going to post in our group that we can help keep you accountable.
That's a great way to do it. Yes.
Steve, that sound good to you?
That sounds awesome.
All right, so our daily challenge will be every day, find a way to save at least $5 for your first down payment.
Perfect.
And that's our daily challenge. Well, awesome, guys. That'll wrap up this segment. I'll do some closing remarks, and then I'll talk to you guys later. All right, everyone. I hope I didn't piss too many people off. Sorry, realtors. You guys do serve a purpose. We love our realtors, but for investors, we got to make sure that everything is on the books and to the T to make sure that you're getting as much ROI on your investment. Buying a house can be scary. There's tons of amazing realtors out there. If you're looking just to live in it and buy one house and you just want to like reduce renting, go find a realtor, find a real estate agent. They're amazing. They know what they're doing. If you're looking to invest, you're looking for cash flow, you're looking for a fixer upper, you're looking for anything like that, you're going to have to start looking at yourself and what you know about real estate. If you're looking for a wholesale deal or a fix and flip, a realtor is going to be there to help close it, but you're going to have to really run those numbers yourself. If you're keeping it for a long-term hold, you're going to have to know that market. You're going to have to know where it's going, the appreciation, and if that market's emerging or if it's falling over. And that's something you're going to have to do on your own. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. We got a triangle. We learned all about shapes. There's a little bit of geometry today. We learned about cash flow, and I agree with that. Cash flow before equity right now. When you're young, maybe it's more important later on, but when you're starting out as an investor, you got to make sure that every month there's more money coming in to cover for any potential issues and as well for you to expand your portfolio. And then if you don't have a financial statement, if you don't have a personal financial statement every year, you need or hire a CPA. And of course, we have options for that too. Wayne Block, shout out, best CPA in the world, saves me every year. And then our daily challenge, everyone, if you want to be held accountable, post in our group, Millionaires Are Made on Facebook. We will hold you accountable every day. You need to save at least $5 and put that towards your down payment on a house. Let's get everyone homes here. Let's all buy them. Again, thank you so much for watching Millionaires Are Made.